Twinkies first came out in 1930 with banana filling instead of the creamy vanilla we know today. They've disappeared, come back, and turned into a nostalgic favorite. From lunchboxes to pop culture, this little snack has been everywhere.
I love Twinkies!
And let's not forget the urban legend. Twinkies are said to last forever, thanks to their near-mythical shelf life. So, how did it become such a big part of our lives? Well, let's find out how Twinkies are made in a factory. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Process Powerhouse channel. Leave us a comment to let us know what mealtime favorites you'd like to see next. And hey, if they really last forever, maybe they'll outlive us all. Twinkies were created in 1930 by James Dewar, who worked for the Continental Baking Company. Dewar faced a problem: what to do with leftover shortcake pans when strawberries weren't in season. Instead of wasting them, he filled the pans with sweet, creamy filling and made a new snack. Dewar had no idea he was creating a snack cake legend. It was kind of an accident, but it worked out great. The treat became an instant hit, and soon everyone loved this creamy, spongy snack. Dewar's simple idea ended up lasting for decades. The name Twinkie came from a billboard for a shoe brand that had the word twinkle on it. Dewar thought Twinkie sounded more fun, so he chose that name, and it stuck. What seemed like a small decision ended up making the name famous. By the 1940s, Twinkies had become a hit. During World War II, when US troops were sent overseas, Twinkies were included in their care packages. Imagine how comforting it must have been for soldiers to receive a sweet reminder of home. Twinkies became more than just a snack. They were a symbol of comfort and happiness. After all, nothing says comfort food like a cake that could survive the journey to the other side of the world and last for decades. Over the years, Twinkies became a big part of American culture. They were the go-to snack for kids, the perfect after-school treat, or a late-night craving when you needed something quick. By the 1970s, Twinkies were known for their long shelf life, and they became a pop culture icon. Hostess, the company behind Twinkies,
Caramelizes whole lunchbox just filled with Hostess Twinkie,
marketed them with such excitement, claiming the cakes could last forever. This led to the famous rumor that a Twinkie could survive a nuclear disaster. While that's definitely an exaggeration, hopefully, it made the cake even more famous and led to many pop culture references. Whether you were a kid sneaking a Twinkie or an adult looking back on your childhood, these golden cakes were everywhere and seemed to last forever. Despite the fun and charm of this spongy treat, Twinkies have gone through some big changes over the years. There were a few tweaks to the recipe, including changes to both the cake and the filling. But it wasn't until 2012, when Hostess went bankrupt, that the future of Twinkies was in doubt. People briefly panicked. Would Twinkies disappear for good? Fans flooded social media with messages saying goodbye like they were losing an old friend. But in 2013, after a short break, Twinkies were back on shelves. People were so relieved, some even rushed to stores to buy them before they sold out again. It's clear that Twinkies had earned their place in snack history. Twinkies have been through a lot: recipe changes, new owners, and some close calls. But they've always stayed a favorite snack. Maybe it's the soft cake and creamy filling, or the memories they bring back with every bite. There's just something simple and timeless about them. Whether you're opening a fresh pack or finding an old box in the pantry, Twinkies always bring a smile. They've had their ups and downs, but they're still going strong. Let's see how they're made. The first step in making a Twinkie is getting the right ingredients: flour, sugar, eggs, oil, and preservatives. Choosing the right flour is especially important to keep the product consistent. High-protein flour is often used because it helps create the soft, sponge-like texture Twinkies are known for. The flour also needs to be finely ground, which helps the cake rise and hold its shape. Sugar is important not just for sweetness, but also for keeping the cake moist and fresh longer. The sugar in Twinkies usually comes from sugar beets or sugarcane, which are refined to make them pure and sweet. Corn syrup is added for extra sweetness and to make the filling smooth. It also helps keep the cake moist so it doesn't dry out. Getting the right mix of sugars is key for the taste and shelf life. Eggs are important because they hold the ingredients together and give the Twinkie its light, sponge-like texture. The proteins in the eggs also help the cake hold its shape while baking, so it doesn't collapse or get too dense. Oil in the batter keeps the cake soft and moist, giving it that melt-in-your-mouth feel. Factories also use artificial flavors and preservatives, like calcium propionate, to keep Twinkies fresh and prevent mold, which is why they last so long. Getting ingredients from reliable suppliers is crucial. Any change in quality could affect the flavor, texture, or shelf life of the Twinkies. To prevent this, manufacturers have strict quality checks to make sure ingredients are pure, consistent in flavor, and free from allergens or impurities. These high standards ensure every Twinkie meets the same level of quality for consumers. After gathering all the ingredients, they are mixed into a batter. Flour, sugar, eggs, oil, and other liquids are blended in large industrial mixers. These mixers handle big batches and make sure everything is evenly mixed. The batter needs to be smooth, not too thick or too thin, so it bakes just right. This step ensures every Twinkie has the perfect balance of cake and cream in every bite. Adding air to the batter is an important step. The batter is whipped at specific speeds to create a light, fluffy texture for the soft, spongy cake. Mixing too fast can make the batter too airy and unstable, causing the cake to crumble or collapse. Too much air can also make the cake dry, while too little air can make it dense. The goal is to add just the right amount of air for a fluffy, moist cake. The batter is carefully monitored during mixing to make sure it has the right consistency. Sensors and regular checks help keep the balance of moisture and air just right. Any issues with texture or mixing speed are fixed quickly to avoid problems with the final product. Once the batter is perfect, it's poured into molds. The consistency needs to be spot on so the Twinkies rise evenly and keep their signature shape. Although the process is automated, it's closely controlled to ensure every batch turns out the same. Mixing the batter is a crucial step in making Twinkies. It's all about getting the right lightness and texture to create their signature soft, spongy bite. This step ensures the cake has the perfect amount of moisture and sets the foundation for the entire baking process. The balance between the wet and dry ingredients, along with just the right amount of air, is what makes Twinkies the timeless treat they are. Once the batter is ready, it's poured into molds designed to give Twinkies their iconic shape. These molds ensure each cake is the same size and bakes evenly. Made from materials that conduct heat well, they help the cakes cook evenly and prevent sticking. The molds are preheated before the batter is added, so the cakes start to set and rise right away, resulting in their signature golden brown look. The batter-filled molds are baked in a large industrial oven set to a specific temperature for about 15 to 20 minutes. The heat makes the batter rise and turn into a fluffy golden sponge cake. Baking time and temperature are carefully controlled to ensure the cakes cook evenly and stay light and spongy. The oven uses heat from the top and bottom for even baking, and automated systems monitor the process to keep every batch consistent. Any changes in temperature or time could result in cakes that are too dry or undercooked. The cakes are carefully watched during baking to make sure they turn out the same every time. Overbaking can make them dry or tough, while underbaking can leave the center raw. The factory uses temperature controls and sensors to keep the heat just right. Some factories also use a conveyor belt to move the cakes through the oven at the right speed so they don't get overcooked. The right balance of heat and time gives Twinkies their light, spongy texture, and even small changes can affect the result. That's why the oven process is closely controlled. After baking, the Twinkies are taken out of the molds and left to cool. Cooling is important because it helps the cake set and firm up without becoming too soft or wet. The cakes are handled gently to avoid damage. Cooling conveyors move the cakes from the oven to a cooling area where they are cooled at room temperature. This keeps their shape and spongy texture. If they don't cool properly, the filling could leak or the texture could become too dense. This step makes sure the cakes are ready for the next stage in production. Once the Twinkies are baked and cooled, they move down a conveyor to an automated filling machine where they are injected with cream. This step is what makes a Twinkie stand out, giving it the one bite of cake, one bite of cream experience. The machine ensures each Twinkie gets the right amount of filling, so the product is always consistent and satisfying. The smooth, creamy filling is essential for creating the perfect balance of lightness and richness in every bite. The cream is made from sugar, corn syrup, and artificial flavorings, giving it its sweet taste. It's whipped to a light, airy texture, which keeps the Twinkie from feeling too heavy. This lightness lets the filling complement the cake without overpowering it, creating the perfect balance of cake and cream. A small amount of stabilizers is added to keep the cream smooth and prevent it from separating, so each Twinkie looks and tastes the same. The filling is then injected into each Twinkie using a machine that ensures the right amount every time. The filling is pumped into the center of the cake with just the right pressure to avoid bursting the soft sponge. This process needs precision, as the filling must be spread evenly without changing the cake's shape. If the pressure is too high, the Twinkie could burst and spill the filling. Too much filling could make the Twinkie messy, while too little wouldn't give it that classic cream-filled taste. Finding the right balance of cake and filling is key to keeping the Twinkie experience consistent, and it requires carefully set up equipment to get it right every time. After the filling is added, the Twinkies move along the conveyor, where they are checked for air pockets or any imperfections. The cakes are carefully inspected to make sure they're all the same, with either quality control staff or automated systems making sure no defects, like overfilled or underfilled cakes, are missed. After this, the Twinkies are nearly ready, though they might still go through extra quality checks or packaging. The filling step is what makes them stand out and loved by fans everywhere. After the filling is added, the Twinkies need to cool to keep their texture and prevent them from getting too soft or soggy. The cakes are moved to a cooling conveyor, where they are kept at the right temperature for a set amount of time. Cooling is important to make sure the filling stays in place and the sponge cake reaches its final texture. After cooling, the cakes move to the packaging stage. This is where mass production shines. Each Twinkie is wrapped in a thin plastic layer to keep it fresh and safe. The wrapping is done by machines, which tightly seal each Twinkie. The wrap also shows the familiar Hostess logo, making each Twinkie easy to recognize. Packaging is important because it keeps the cake safe from air, moisture, and contamination. It also helps with branding, as the yellow packaging makes Twinkies easy to spot on store shelves. The packaging process is quick and efficient, allowing hundreds or even thousands of Twinkies to be packed every hour. Once wrapped, the Twinkies are packed into boxes for shipping. The boxes are labeled with details like expiration dates and are stacked on pallets for the next step: distribution. Quality checks are done to make sure the cakes are sealed properly and have no defects, so customers get a consistent experience. Before Twinkies reach stores, they go through a final quality check. This makes sure each cake meets the company's standards for size, taste, and consistency. The cakes are checked for even filling, proper size, and any defects in the sponge. Even small issues are fixed. Every Twinkie is inspected to ensure it has uniform filling and texture, so the products in stores always meet the same high standards. Technicians keep an eye on the cakes as they move through the production line, making sure each one meets the standards. They check the texture, filling amount, and appearance. The packaging is also checked to ensure it's sealed properly with no wrinkles or damage. The final quality check ensures that only the best Twinkies make it to the shelves. Any cakes that don't meet the standards are removed to keep the quality high. This attention to detail helps keep the Twinkies' reputation for quality. Some factories also use high-tech tools like X-ray machines to spot issues that can't be seen by eye. This helps make sure the filling is spread evenly and there are no air pockets or texture problems. The X-rays can also catch underbakes or defects that affect the texture. This technology helps ensure that customers get a product that meets expectations by finding and fixing any flaws before it reaches them. After passing the final checks, the Twinkies are ready for packaging and shipping. The quality control ensures that each Twinkie is consistent, making every bite as satisfying as the last. The cakes are packaged carefully to keep them fresh and safe during transport. With each batch meeting strict standards, customers can be sure that the Twinkies they buy will be just as tasty as they remember. Once the Twinkies are packaged and sealed, they are sent to large distribution centers, which store them before they are shipped to stores. These centers are set up to work efficiently, with pallets of Twinkies stored in climate-controlled areas to keep them fresh. The temperature and humidity are closely monitored to ensure the cakes stay in the best conditions, protecting them from heat and moisture that could change their texture or flavor. The distribution process is well organized. From the warehouse, Twinkies are loaded onto trucks and delivered to stores, from big grocery chains to small convenience stores. The logistics are set up to keep trucks moving, so store shelves are always restocked without delay. This smooth system ensures that fresh Twinkies are available for customers, whether they're stopping by quickly or doing their weekly shopping. With a steady schedule, the transportation of Twinkies runs quickly and efficiently, keeping shelves full all the time. Once the Twinkies arrive at the store, they're unloaded and placed on the shelves. Retailers rely on this smooth distribution to keep their shelves stocked with fresh products. This means that from the moment the Twinkies leave the factory, they can be on store shelves in just a few days. The whole distribution network is key to getting Twinkies to customers quickly, and it's a well-organized system that keeps up with demand and fills shelves. This fast process ensures that no one has to wait long for the tasty treat they love. Finally, Twinkies are placed on store shelves, ready for customers to grab. Whether sold individually or in packs, the bright yellow packages are positioned to catch shoppers' attention as they walk through the snack aisles. Where they're placed in the store is key to making sure they sell quickly. Many stores put them near the checkout lanes, encouraging impulse buys so customers can easily pick up a Twinkie when they're looking for a quick snack or treat. When you pick up a Twinkie, you're getting the result of a careful process that's been perfected over many years. From gathering the ingredients to baking and wrapping the cakes, each step is done with care to make sure every bite is as good as the last. Twinkies are often placed next to other snack cakes, but their unique packaging and long history set them apart. The bright yellow wrapper and iconic shape make Twinkies easy to recognize for anyone walking by. Consumers trust Twinkies for their reliable taste and nostalgic feel, built on years of careful production. Even though they're made in large quantities, the quality never changes, so the snack you buy today tastes just like the one you had years ago. Twinkies have earned their spot on store shelves not just because of their unique taste, but because they've stood the test of time. So the next time you grab a package, remember, every golden cake is packed with a lot of care, precision, and nostalgia. Twinkies have stayed a favorite for generations, thanks to their consistency, nostalgia, and innovation. The simple mix of light sponge cake and creamy filling provides a comforting taste that has appealed to people for decades. Whether it's the joy of enjoying a snack that reminds you of childhood, or the reliable quality that always delivers, Twinkies have gained a loyal fan base. This trusted treat has become a go-to snack for many, making it a common item in homes across the country. What has kept Twinkies popular over the years is their ability to adapt while still keeping what made them great. By balancing that classic taste with freshness and accessibility, Twinkies have survived changes in the snack industry. While other snack cakes come and go, Twinkies have stayed a symbol of consistency and nostalgia. Their spot on store shelves year after year shows that sometimes the best things don't need to change, especially when they've already gotten it right. By mixing tradition with change, Twinkies have stayed popular with generations of fans. Even as the snack world changes, the classic yellow packaging and cake and cream combo stay the same. This simple yet iconic treat still brings back memories and satisfies cravings, showing that sometimes keeping things simple is the key. Twinkies are more than just a snack. They represent comfort, consistency, and the lasting charm of something classic. Stick around, there's even more exciting moments and processes coming up next. Coca-Cola is one of the world's most famous drinks, but did you know it started as a medicinal tonic? Back in the late 1800s, it was promoted as a remedy for headaches and other ailments. Today, it's a global favorite with a variety of flavors. Join us as we explore how Coca-Cola is made inside the factory. It all started in 1886, when an Atlanta pharmacist named Dr. John Stith Pemberton made a caramel-colored syrup in a three-legged brass kettle. Back then, pharmacists were also the go-to for remedies for everything from headaches to heartaches. Pemberton's original mix was meant to be a medicine, something to help people feel better after a long day, probably filled with uncomfortable hats and dodging horse manure. He probably wasn't thinking, this will be a billion-dollar drink, but more like, maybe this will help pay off my debts. Little did he know, his accidental creation would become a global pop culture icon and a vending machine staple. Legend has it, Pemberton's assistant accidentally mixed the syrup with carbonated water, creating what we now know as Coca-Cola. Imagine being that assistant, just trying to hydrate and accidentally inventing something so popular. The first glass was sold for a nickel, and people loved it. The catch? The original formula had actual coca leaf extract. Yes, that coca, which is probably why early fans felt really refreshed. Can you picture it? People walking out of the soda fountain like they just got a power-up in a video game. Eventually, they toned down the extra boost in the recipe. But by then, Coke had already made its mark. A few years later, a businessman named Asa Candler bought the formula, turned it into a real business, and marketed it like crazy. Candler was basically the marketing genius of his time. Think Don Draper, but with more mustaches and fewer creative agencies. Suddenly, Coca-Cola ads were everywhere, on billboards, calendars, and even thermometers, because apparently you needed to know the temperature to crave a Coke. By 1900, if you hadn't seen a Coca-Cola ad, you were probably living under a rock. And let's not forget those classic slogans like, "Drink Coca-Cola," or "It's the real thing." Simple, catchy, and effective. Because who can resist the real thing? Over the years, Coca-Cola kept changing and growing. During World War II, Coke was sent to soldiers overseas to boost their spirits. And after the war, it became a symbol of America. Fizzy, fun, and everywhere. The company even made sure every soldier could get a bottle for 5 cents, no matter where they were. Talk about dedication to the brand. After the war, Coke didn't just stay popular in the US, it spread to countries all over the world, even reaching places where people had never heard of soda. It was like Coke was on a mission to be the official drink of the world. In 1985, the company tried changing the formula with new Coke, but that idea fizzled out quickly. People didn't like it and wanted the original Coke back. The backlash was so strong that within a few months they brought back the old formula, calling it Coca-Cola Classic. It was one of the quickest changes in business history. Honestly, you've got to admire how fast they said, okay, we messed up, here's your Coke back. Today, Coke comes in more flavors than anyone expected, from vanilla to mango, and yes, even bacon-flavored versions in some parts of the world. Who's drinking that? In Japan, there's green tea Coke, and in Italy, they have a lemon basil version. Some might say it's a bit much, but hey, trying new things is what makes it fun. But at its core, Coca-Cola is still about the simple joy of cracking open a bottle, hearing that familiar fizz, and taking a refreshing sip, thankfully without dodging horse manure. Whether you're drinking it at a summer BBQ or sneaking a sip at midnight, it's always there to give you that nostalgic kick in every fizzy gulp. Enough history, let's take a look inside the factory. Every Coca-Cola drink starts with its most important ingredient, water. Water makes up about 90% of the final product, so its purity and quality are key to making sure the taste is always the same. Before it's used in production, the water goes through a careful filtration and purification process to remove any impurities. Coca-Cola gets its water from different regions around the world. Since water quality can vary by location, Coca-Cola has a team that checks local water sources to make sure it's pure and free from harmful chemicals. Whether the water comes from wells, rivers, or city supplies, it always goes through a strict purification process before being used in production. The first step in purifying the water is filtration, where large particles like dirt or debris are removed using physical filters. After that, the water goes through reverse osmosis, which uses a special membrane to remove dissolved salts and other impurities. This process is very good at getting rid of almost all contaminants, making the water safe for food and drinks. Finally, the water is exposed to ultraviolet UV light to kill any bacteria or viruses, making sure it's safe to drink. Coca-Cola focuses on saving and protecting water. In areas with little water, the company has programs to help replace the water it uses, improving local water supplies with creative projects. These include collecting and treating rainwater, setting up community filters, and supporting water-saving efforts in local areas. Coca-Cola's commitment to water sustainability ensures that their product is safe to drink and that water sources are protected for the future. After the water is purified, the next step is adding sugar. The type of sugar used in Coca-Cola depends on the region and what's available locally. In North America, high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, is often used because it's cheaper than cane sugar. In places like Latin America and parts of Europe, cane sugar is more common. Cane sugar comes from the sugarcane plant, while HFCS is made from corn. Sugar not only gives Coca-Cola its sweetness, but also helps preserve the drink. It acts as a preservative, helping the product last longer and keep its flavor. That's why it's important for Coca-Cola to have the same sweet taste in every region. No matter what type of sugar is used, it must always taste the same. The last ingredient is the Coca-Cola concentrate, a secret known as Merchandise 7X. This concentrate has a special mix of oils, spices, and flavors that give Coca-Cola its unique taste. The full recipe is so secret that only a few people know it, and it's kept under strict security. The concentrate is mixed with the sugar water solution in the right amount to get the perfect balance of flavors. It's this secret mix with water and sugar that makes Coca-Cola recognizable everywhere. Once the ingredients are gathered, purified, and mixed in the right amounts, it's time to create the flavor. This step is important because the taste of Coca-Cola relies on how well the ingredients are combined. Making sure every bottle tastes the same, no matter where it's made or sold, is key to keeping the brand's reputation and customers. Coca-Cola is known for its consistency, and this stage is essential to making that happen. The company has invested in advanced equipment and methods to make sure the drink tastes fresh and good everywhere. The first step is making the syrup. The sugar is mixed with purified water to create a sugary solution. This syrup is key to the drink, and it needs to be made carefully. It's not just about adding sugar. The process has to happen at the right temperature and pressure to get the right texture. For example, too much heat can make the syrup change color and taste different, while too little heat can leave some sugar undissolved, making the sweetness uneven. Coca-Cola uses a system to keep everything at the right conditions, ensuring every batch is consistent. This is important because even a small change in sweetness can affect the final taste, and customers expect the same Coca-Cola flavor every time. Once the syrup is ready, it's sent to a blending tank where it's mixed with Coca-Cola concentrate. This concentrate isn't just a flavor booster, it's a special mix of oils, spices, and secret ingredients that give Coca-Cola its one-of-a-kind taste. The syrup and concentrate are combined in exact amounts because even a small change could change the flavor. The concentrate is the key to Coca-Cola's famous taste, which has been a closely guarded secret for over 100 years. The precise mix of syrup and concentrate makes sure the flavor stays the same in every bottle, from the first one to the last. The blending process uses special equipment to mix the ingredients evenly. Large tanks with strong stirrers make sure the liquid is mixed well. The process is closely controlled, with automated systems checking every step. The stirring has to be steady so that each part of the mixture gets the same treatment. If the ingredients aren't mixed right, the flavor could be off. As the liquid blends, sensors check the color, clarity, and flavor. These sensors can detect even the smallest change, and if anything is wrong, the batch is stopped, fixed, or thrown out. This strict control ensures that every bottle of Coca-Cola tastes the same, no matter where it's made. During the blending process, Coca-Cola performs strict quality control tests. These tests check that the product meets standards for sweetness, flavor, and consistency. A team of trained tasters helps with this by using their experience to make sure the flavor is perfect. They test the mixture to ensure it has the smooth sweetness and refreshing fizz that Coca-Cola is known for. Tasters play a key role in making sure the classic Coca-Cola flavor is kept consistent and also help catch any issues that automated systems might miss. This careful attention to detail is part of Coca-Cola's commitment to quality, so people around the world enjoy the same great drink every time. Once the beverage is mixed, the next step is to carbonate it, which gives Coca-Cola its fizz. Carbonation is important because it adds a sparkling feel and makes the drink more refreshing. Without carbonation, Coca-Cola would taste flat and less enjoyable. The bubbles also make the drink feel light and energizing with each sip. This fizzy texture is part of what makes Coca-Cola so satisfying and popular. To carbonate the drink, carbon dioxide, CO2, is added under high pressure. First, the mixture is cooled to a certain temperature because cold liquids hold gas better than warm ones. Once chilled, the liquid is pumped into large machines where CO2 is injected under pressure. This process makes sure the gas dissolves into the liquid, creating the bubbles people know and love in Coca-Cola. Without this step, the drink wouldn't have the same fizzy experience that makes it so appealing. The amount of CO2 added is very important. If there's too little, the drink will taste flat. If there's too much, the bubbles will be too big and disappear too quickly when the bottle is opened. Coca-Cola uses advanced technology to control the carbonation, making sure it's just right. Automated systems constantly check the pressure, temperature, and gas levels to keep things consistent. Even small changes can affect the taste, so this step must be done carefully to make sure every bottle has the perfect fizz. Once the drink has the right carbonation, it moves to the filling stations. The drink must be handled carefully to keep the fizz. The bottles and cans are cooled before filling to help keep the bubbles in. Cold Coca-Cola is added to the containers to prevent the fizz from escaping. The containers are sealed right away to keep the carbonation locked in, making sure the drink stays fizzy until it's opened. This careful process helps ensure that Coca-Cola always reaches consumers with the same refreshing fizz as when it was made. After carbonation, it's time to bottle and can Coca-Cola. The process starts by cleaning the bottles and cans to make sure they are safe and free from contamination. High-pressure washing machines clean the containers with hot water, steam, and cleaning agents to remove dirt, bacteria, or any leftover residues. The containers are checked carefully after cleaning to make sure they're fully sanitized. If any containers don't meet the cleaning standards, they are thrown away or cleaned again. Once cleaned, the containers are placed on fast machines that can fill thousands of bottles and cans each hour. These machines are precise and automatically fill each container to the right level. Coca-Cola's advanced filling systems make sure every container is filled accurately, avoiding any overfilling or underfilling. The filling process is done carefully because even a small difference in the amount of liquid can affect the taste. The machines are reliable and efficient, helping Coca-Cola keep up with the high demand for its product, so consumers can always enjoy a fresh, perfectly filled bottle or can. After the containers are filled, they are quickly sealed with caps or lids. This is done under high pressure to keep the containers airtight, which helps preserve the fizz and keeps the drink fresh. The caps are applied by automated machines that securely attach them, preventing leaks and ensuring the drink stays in good condition until it's ready for consumers. Proper sealing is important because any leaks would let the carbonation escape, making the drink flat. Each cap is checked for a tight fit, and automated systems look for any defects before the bottles or cans move on to the next stage. Once the bottles or cans are sealed, they move to the labeling process. Coca-Cola's red and white logo is carefully placed on each container, making sure the brand stands out. The labeling machines work quickly and accurately, attaching labels with minimal mistakes. This ensures that the branding looks the same on all products, whether it's small cans, large bottles, or special packaging. The labels are aligned perfectly, so the logo is easy to spot, helping consumers find Coca-Cola on store shelves. The automated systems make sure each container is labeled correctly, keeping the production process smooth. Once the bottles and cans are sealed and labeled, they are ready for packaging and distribution. Coca-Cola uses different packaging methods depending on the product and the market. Some products are packed in trays or shrink-wrapped cartons, while others are stacked in plastic crates. Packaging is important to protect the beverage during transport, making sure it arrives at the store in good condition. The packaging process is fully automated, with machines working fast to pack large amounts of Coca-Cola. Once packaged, the products are placed on pallets and wrapped in plastic for extra stability. This wrapping helps keep the products in place and prevents damage during transport. The products are sent to distribution centers, which are places that help get Coca-Cola to stores, restaurants, and other places that sell it. Coca-Cola has many distribution centers around the world, carefully placed to make sure the products are delivered quickly. From these centers, the drinks are loaded onto trucks and taken to stores and other places. Coca-Cola makes sure its drinks stay at the right temperature during every step of delivery to keep them fresh. In hot areas, the company uses special methods to keep the drinks cold while they're being transported. This helps keep the drinks chilled and maintains their taste and fizz. Cold chain logistics are especially important for keeping sodas fizzy. Once Coca-Cola products arrive in stores, the company works to make them easy for customers to find. Coca-Cola's products are usually placed in high-traffic areas of the store to grab attention. Retailers and Coca-Cola work together to set up eye-catching displays, such as end-of-aisle stands, refrigerators, or special shelves that highlight the brand's red and white colors. Along with in-store displays, Coca-Cola runs marketing campaigns to keep the brand in people's minds. Through catchy ads, social media, and sponsoring big events like the Olympics and FIFA World Cup, Coca-Cola stays connected with customers. The ads often focus on happiness, togetherness, and celebrations, creating an emotional bond with people worldwide. Retailers use systems like FIFO, first in, first out, to manage stock, making sure older products are sold first. This reduces waste and keeps products fresh for customers. Coca-Cola works with retailers to track stock levels, encourage product rotation, and make sure every bottle of soda is at its best when sold. Coca-Cola's commitment to quality goes beyond making sure the flavor stays the same. It also involves keeping high standards for production, health, and safety. The company carefully checks each part of the production process. From sourcing the water to sealing the final bottle, Coca-Cola does thorough quality checks. This includes taste testing, lab tests, and other evaluations to make sure the product meets the company's strict standards. Sustainability is an important goal for Coca-Cola, and the company has started many efforts to reduce its impact on the environment. Coca-Cola is working to lower its carbon emissions, use renewable energy in its plants, and invest in energy-saving technologies. The company has also committed to using 100% recyclable packaging and is making progress in using less plastic in its bottles. Coca-Cola works to replace the water it uses in making its products. The company has programs focused on saving water, restoring local water supplies, and helping communities get clean water. Coca-Cola's efforts to reduce waste and improve sustainability help make sure that beverage production is both successful and responsible for the environment. Coca-Cola's long-lasting popularity is due to its classic appeal, consistent quality, and ever-changing brand. Since it started, Coca-Cola has offered a taste loved by people of all ages. Its secret formula and care in production make sure every bottle and can taste the same, no matter where you are. Coca-Cola's marketing has also been key in making it a part of popular culture, creating emotional connections through family, friends, and celebrations. Another reason Coca-Cola stays popular is its ability to change while staying true to its original identity. While it has introduced new flavors and zero-calorie options, the classic taste is still at the heart of the brand. Coca-Cola has also used new technology in production to make sure the drink is always consistent, perfectly fizzy, and available worldwide. This focus on quality and consistency has kept Coca-Cola a favorite drink for billions of people. In the end, Coca-Cola's success comes from really understanding its customers and changing while keeping what makes it unique. With every bottle, Coca-Cola still gives that feeling of refreshment and joy that has made it loved for over a century. And there you have it, the process of Coca-Cola from ingredient sourcing to that perfect fizz in your bottle. What's your favorite way to enjoy Coca-Cola? Classic, diet, or maybe one of the unique flavors they've introduced over the years? Let us know in the comments below. Stick around, there's even more exciting moments and processes coming up next. Remember how gummy bears were the go-to candy as a kid? Small, chewy, colorful, and always there when you wanted something sweet. But then things got kinda strange. Suddenly, it wasn't just fruity flavors. There were sour, spicy, and even glow-in-the-dark gummy bears. So, how are gummy bears actually made in a factory? Let's take a look. A long time ago, there was a small, chewy treat that became popular in snack bowls and party bags: gummy bears. Before they were everywhere, these little candies started out small in Germany in the 1920s. A candy maker named Hans Riegel came up with the idea while having coffee. He thought, what if I made a candy shaped like a bear that's fun to chew? And that's how gummy bears were created. Hans lived in Bonn, Germany, and his small candy company was called Haribo, a mix of his name and the town. At first, the gummy bears were simple with just one flavor, lemon. They weren't as colorful or fruity as today's versions, but it didn't take long for people to realize they could be something much bigger. As time passed, gummy bears began to grow in popularity. They became more exciting with new, brighter flavors like orange, raspberry, and cherry. By the 1960s, gummy bears could be found all over Europe. What started as a simple snack turned into one of the most popular candies, with many new flavors and lots of attention. So how did these gummy bears become so popular? It's all because of their stickiness. Gummy bears quickly appeared in lunchboxes, movie theaters, and even doctor's offices. We've all been there. They were cheap, easy to carry, and perfect for eating in one go without anyone judging you. No other candy could stay in your pocket for hours and still be just as chewy like a gummy bear. Their convenience and sweetness made them a favorite across generations, and before long, every snack aisle had them. The name Gummy comes from the German word gummy bar, meaning rubber bear. While gummy bears taste much better than rubber, their chewy texture is what gives them the gummy name. It's like Hans was saying, this candy will stick with you, literally. Gummy bears aren't just candy. They're a snack that grabs your attention and makes you enjoy every bite, no matter how many you eat. Over the years, gummy bears became popular far beyond Europe. When they arrived in the US in the 1980s, it was a big deal. Gummy bears even appeared in commercials, TV shows, and viral videos. They went from being just an after-school snack to a global sensation loved by people of all ages. Next time you grab a bear-shaped snack, remember, you're not just eating candy, you're enjoying a bit of history. Enough history lessons, let's take a look inside the factory. The journey of a gummy bear starts long before it hits the candy aisle. First, the raw materials are carefully chosen. The main ingredients in gummy bears are sugar, glucose syrup, gelatin, citric acid, flavoring, and food coloring. Each one is important for creating the gummy bear's unique taste and texture. These ingredients are selected carefully to make sure the final product is high quality, consistent, and safe. Sugar is the main sweetener in gummy bears, usually coming from sugar beets or sugar cane. It has to be of high quality to get the right sweetness. The sugar is refined before being used. It gives the gummy bears their sweetness and texture. Glucose syrup, another type of sugar, is also important. Made from corn or wheat, it helps make the gummies smooth and keeps them soft and chewy. It also stops the sugar from hardening too fast, which is key to keeping the gummy bears the right texture. The quality of glucose syrup is important to make sure the gummy bears turn out just right. Gelatin is what gives gummy bears their chewy texture and is an important ingredient in making them. It's made from animal collagen, usually from cows or pigs. The collagen is turned into a powder or sheet, then dissolved in hot sugar syrup to form a gel as it cools. This process creates the gummy bear's bouncy, chewy texture. Gelatin is crucial because without it, the candy wouldn't keep its shape. The quality of gelatin affects how firm and chewy the gummies are. Some gummy makers use plant-based alternatives like agar-agar or pectin for vegan options, but gelatin is still the most common choice in regular gummy bear recipes. Citric acid is another important ingredient in gummy bears. It comes from citrus fruits like lemons or limes and adds a tangy flavor that balances the sweetness. This gives the gummy bears a bit of a zing and makes the taste more interesting. Citric acid also helps preserve the candy by lowering the pH, which keeps the gummies fresh and safe to eat for a longer time. Flavor and color are also key in making gummy bears. The flavors are usually fruit-based like strawberry, orange, lemon, lime, and raspberry. These flavors can come from natural or artificial sources, and manufacturers carefully use the right amounts to make the taste consistent. The colors match the flavors: red for strawberry, yellow for lemon, green for lime, etc. These colors can come from natural sources, like beet juice or spinach powder, or from synthetic dyes. The goal is to make the gummy bears not only taste good, but also look bright and appealing. The right combination of flavor and color helps create a full sensory experience: taste, smell, sight, touch, and even the slight crunch when biting into the chewy candy. Sustainability has become an important concern in making gummy bears. As people become more aware of the impact of their food choices on the environment, candy makers are working to ensure their ingredients are responsibly sourced. This includes choosing suppliers who use good farming practices, using organic and non-GMO ingredients when possible, and making sure gelatin comes from humane sources. Some companies are also looking for natural, plant-based alternatives to artificial colors and flavors, which are better for the environment and free from harmful chemicals. These efforts help companies meet the demand for eco-friendly products while keeping the candy tasty and high quality. Once all the ingredients are gathered, they are mixed in the right amounts to make the gummy bear base. Mixing is an important step because it affects the candy's texture and taste. The ingredients are measured carefully, and large mixers make sure they are blended well into a smooth mixture. First, sugar and glucose syrup are dissolved in water and heated to the right temperature, so the sugar melts fully and the texture is smooth without any lumps. After the syrup is ready, gelatin is added slowly to avoid clumps and make sure it dissolves evenly in the hot syrup. The gelatin is mixed in carefully, and the mixture is heated to the right temperature so the gelatin can fully dissolve. This is what creates the chewy texture of gummy bears. When the mixture cools, the gelatin forms a gel, giving the candy its famous chewy feel. Once the gelatin is fully mixed in, the next ingredients, citric acid, flavorings, and colorants, are added. Citric acid is usually dissolved in a little water before being added to the syrup. The flavorings are carefully measured and mixed in, followed by the colorants. This is when the mixture starts to look like the final candy. The colors become bright, and the flavors start to show as the mixture comes together. It's important to make sure the flavor and color are evenly spread so each gummy bear tastes and looks the same. The mixture is now a thick, hot syrup and ready to be poured into molds. But before that, the temperature needs to be just right. If it cools too fast, it might not flow properly into the molds and could affect the texture. If it's too hot, it might cause bubbles or uneven filling, leading to mistakes in the gummy bears. Keeping the right temperature makes sure the mixture stays smooth and flows well, helping to get the perfect gummy bear shape. The molding stage is when the gummy bears start to take shape. After the mixture is ready, it is poured into molds made for gummy bear production. These molds are usually made from food-safe silicone or metal, with bear-shaped spaces for the candy to form. Silicone is often used because it's flexible, making it easier to remove the gummy bears once they have set. In big factories, the molding process is automated. The molds are placed on conveyor belts, and the syrup is poured into them using pumps or nozzles. The syrup needs to be poured carefully to make sure each mold is filled properly. If it's poured too fast or unevenly, the gummy bears could have irregular shapes or air bubbles, which can affect their texture. The syrup is carefully controlled and dispensed at the right temperature to avoid cooling too quickly or causing imperfections. After the molds are filled, they are moved to cooling racks or refrigerated chambers where the gummy bears will set. The temperature is carefully controlled to make sure the gummy bears don't harden too fast, which could change their texture. It's important for them to cool slowly so the gelatin can form a smooth gel. During this time, the gummy bears get their chewy texture, and the colors and flavors fully develop. As the gummy bears cool, they gradually firm up into their familiar shape. The cooling chambers need to keep the right temperature and airflow to make sure each batch sets evenly. If some gummy bears set unevenly, their texture or appearance might be affected, lowering the quality of the batch. Keeping the temperature steady is important to get the perfect chew and avoid defects. The cooling and setting process is important for making the perfect gummy bear. After the molds are filled, they are moved to a controlled cooling area where the candies will become firm and chewy. Cooling happens slowly to give the gelatin time to set properly. The temperature and humidity in the cooling area must be carefully controlled because they can affect the texture of the gummy bears. The cooling process usually takes several hours, depending on the mold size and production process. The cooling chambers are set to about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 degrees Celsius, which helps the gelatin set evenly without getting too hard or too soft. If the temperature is too high, the gummy bears might be too sticky. If it's too low, the candy might set too quickly and become brittle, losing its chewy texture. Humidity is important during cooling. Too much moisture can make gummy bears sticky or soft, while a dry environment can cause them to dry out too quickly. Manufacturers keep an eye on humidity to make sure the gummy bears cool evenly and stay the right texture. Once the gummy bears are fully cooled and have set into a solid shape, they are ready to be removed from the molds. This step is important to keep the candies in the right shape and texture. A good cooling process is key to getting that perfect mix of firmness and chewiness that people love. Once the gummy bears have cooled and set, they are ready to be taken out of the molds. This step needs care to avoid ruining the candy. In most factories, this is done automatically. The molds are gently shaken or flipped to release the gummy bears. The molds are flexible, making it easier to remove the gummy bears without changing their shape. After the gummy bears are taken out of the molds, they are placed on conveyor belts and moved to the next step. Workers or machines quickly check each gummy bear to make sure it keeps its shape and has no defects, like air bubbles, cracks, or unevenness. Any gummy bears that don't look right are taken off the line. This makes sure only the best-looking gummy bears keep going through the process. The demolding process is important for the quality and safety of the gummy bears. If the gummies are damaged or misshapen, they might not pass later checks, so careful handling helps catch problems early. Also, gently removing them from the molds keeps any leftover syrup from causing stickiness or clumping, making the gummy bears easier to package and transport. After the gummy bears are demolded and checked, they are usually coated with a thin layer of cornstarch or powdered sugar. This helps keep them from sticking together during drying and packaging, making them easier to handle and distribute. After being demolded, gummy bears need to dry to get the right texture. This helps keep them from sticking together and ensures they stay soft and chewy. The drying process takes a few hours, and during this time, the gummy bears move on large conveyor belts through a controlled drying chamber. The drying chamber needs to have the right humidity and temperature. If it's too dry, the gummy bears may become hard, losing their chewy texture. If there's too much moisture, they might become sticky and clump together. The right airflow and temperature help each gummy bear dry evenly without losing its texture. Quality control happens throughout production. As the gummy bears move along the conveyor, each batch is checked for defects. Any gummy bears that are too soft, sticky, or misshapen are removed. This makes sure only good products continue to the next steps. Automated systems also check for texture, color, and flavor. Each batch is carefully inspected to make sure the final product looks and tastes great. After the gummy bears finish drying and pass inspection, they are tested for things like how long they last and how they react to changes in the environment. This extra step makes sure the candy stays fresh and keeps its texture until it gets to the consumer, ensuring a consistent experience in every bag. Once the gummy bears have dried to the right texture, they are ready for packaging. The gummy bears are placed into packaging machines that automatically fill bags or containers with the candy. The packaging is made to keep the product safe and fresh by being airtight and tamper-proof. Each package is labeled with important information like ingredients, nutrition facts, best before date, and details about the manufacturer. The packaging process is automated to make it faster and more accurate. Bags are sealed with heat or pressure to keep air out and protect the candy. The packaging is made strong to survive shipping and handling, ensuring the gummy bears aren't damaged. Some packaging also has extra layers to stop contamination or protect the candy from light, which could affect its quality. After being packaged, the gummy bears are stored in warehouses with controlled temperatures to keep them safe. They are shipped in refrigerated trucks to prevent them from getting too soft or sticky. Once they arrive at retail stores, they are placed on shelves for people to buy. The distribution process is carefully watched to make sure the gummy bears reach stores in good condition. Delivery plans are organized to avoid delays or damage. The packaging is also designed to make it easier for stores to store the candy and for customers to grab. Once in stores, the gummy bears are ready to be enjoyed by candy fans everywhere. Gummy bears have remained popular for many reasons. Their chewy texture, bright colors, and fun shape make them a treat people of all ages love. The mix of sweet, fruity flavors and soft, bouncy texture makes them a candy that stands out. Over time, gummy bears have kept their charm by bringing back happy memories, making them a favorite snack for many. Another reason gummy bears are so popular is their versatility. They come in many flavors, sizes, and even sugar-free versions, making sure there's something for everyone. They've also kept up with modern trends, with new options like vegan or organic gummies attracting more people. Their appearances in movies, TV shows, and social media have helped them stay popular with younger generations while still holding on to their nostalgic appeal for older ones. Additionally, the simple ingredients and steady quality of gummy bears have made them a reliable candy choice for many people. The careful production process, from choosing the right ingredients to molding, cooling, and drying, ensures that every gummy bear stays true to its classic taste and texture. This focus on detail has helped gummy bears stay a key part of the candy industry and a popular treat that continues to succeed in an ever-changing market. In conclusion, gummy bears have stayed a favorite candy for many years because they are enjoyable, versatile, and always made with the same high quality. Their mix of nostalgia, fun, and tasty flavors means they will probably continue to be a top pick for candy lovers all over the world for a long time. Now that you've got the inside scoop on gummy bears, we've got to ask, what's your favorite gummy bear flavor? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tasty breakdowns. See you next time.